Welcome to the 5-Minute Warfare podcast from 5minutewarfare.com, where we dive into history's most pivotal battles and military strategies in around 5 minutes. If you enjoy the show and would like to support us, please consider buying us a coffee. Head on over to 5minutewarfare.com/coffee to see how. This is episode 30, Castles and Siege Warfare, Defending the Fortress. Throughout the medieval period, castles stood as imposing symbols of power, military strategy, and technological ingenuity. These fortresses were more than just grand residences. They were defensive strongholds designed to withstand siege warfare, the most common and prolonged form of medieval conflict. Castles played a crucial role in controlling territory, securing borders, and protecting their inhabitants from enemy attacks. Their design evolved over centuries, adapting to new threats and siege tactics, ensuring they remained formidable obstacles to any would-be invader. The earliest castles emerged in the wake of the Norman conquests of the 11th century. Initially, they were simple motte and bailey structures, consisting of a wooden keep on a raised earth mound, surrounded by a palisade and a ditch. These early castles provided a quick and effective means of defense, but were vulnerable to fire and prolonged assaults. As the threat of siege warfare intensified, castle construction shifted to stone, leading to the rise of the great stone fortresses that defined the medieval landscape. Stone castles featured high curtain walls, deep moats, and reinforced gatehouses, all designed to repel attackers. Towers, both round and square, provided elevated vantage points for archers, allowing defenders to rain arrows upon besieging forces. The entrance to a castle was often its weakest point, which led to the development of elaborate gatehouses equipped with drawbridges, portcullises, and murder holes, openings from which boiling water, rocks, or even flaming oil could be poured onto attackers below. Despite their formidable defenses, no castle was completely impregnable. Siege warfare became an essential aspect of medieval conflict, with attackers devising increasingly sophisticated methods to breach castle walls. One of the most common strategies was starvation. Rather than launching a direct assault, besieging forces could simply cut off supplies to the castle, forcing its inhabitants into submission over time. This tactic required patience, but often proved highly effective, particularly if the castle had limited provisions. When a direct assault was necessary, medieval armies employed a variety of siege engines. The trebuchet, one of the most powerful weapons of the era, used a counterweight system to hurl massive projectiles at castle walls, gradually wearing them down. Battering rams, protected by wooden shelters, were used to break through gates or weak points in the stonework. Scaling ladders and siege towers allowed attackers to reach the top of walls, though these assaults were incredibly dangerous and often resulted in heavy casualties. Mining was another effective but labor-intensive siege tactic. Attackers would dig tunnels beneath castle walls, propping them up with wooden supports before setting them alight, causing the walls to collapse. Defenders often responded by digging countermines to intercept and collapse enemy tunnels before they could reach the castle's foundations. The battle beneath the ground was just as crucial as the one above it, requiring skill and strategic foresight from both sides. The defenders of a castle relied on a combination of fortifications, tactics, and sheer resilience to withstand a siege. Supplies were critical, and well-prepared castles stored food, water, and ammunition in anticipation of prolonged blockades. Defenders also employed psychological warfare, using deception and trickery to make their numbers appear greater than they were. Feigned attacks, burning decoy fires, and even throwing down the bodies of fallen enemies were tactics used to dissuade besiegers from continuing their assault. One of the most famous sieges in medieval history was the Siege of Rochester Castle in 1215, during King John's struggle against rebellious barons. The castle's defenders held out for weeks, even after the attackers undermined a tower using pig fat to set fire to the supporting beams. Ultimately, starvation forced their surrender, demonstrating that even the strongest fortresses could not hold indefinitely without sufficient supplies. As siege tactics advanced, so too did castle design. The introduction of concentric castles, with multiple layers of defensive walls, made breaching fortifications increasingly difficult. Castles such as Beaumaris in Wales and Crac des Chevaliers in the Levant exemplified this evolution, featuring thick outer walls, inner keeps, and multiple layers of defense designed to trap and exhaust attackers. The development of gunpowder and artillery in the late medieval period marked the beginning of the end for traditional castles. Cannons could reduce stone walls to rubble far more effectively than trebuchets or mining techniques. The siege of Constantinople in 1453, where Ottoman forces used massive cannons to breach the once impenetrable Theodosian walls, demonstrated the devastating power of this new technology. As firearms became more advanced, the role of castles shifted from military strongholds to administrative centres, noble residences, and symbols of status rather than practical defences. Despite the decline of castles as military fortifications, their legacy endures. Many castles still stand today as reminders of medieval warfare, engineering, and the struggles of the past. Their ruins tell the story of an age when sieges determined the fate of kingdoms, where stone walls and wooden gates were the last line of defense against overwhelming forces. The techniques developed in castle defense and siege warfare influenced military strategy for centuries, shaping the design of fortifications well into the modern era. The medieval castle was far more than a mere fortress. It was a center of governance, a place of refuge, and a symbol of authority. Siege warfare tested the endurance, ingenuity, and resilience of both attackers and defenders, driving the evolution of military strategy and castle architecture. Though their time as impenetrable strongholds has long passed, castles remain a testament to the ingenuity of medieval warfare, their walls echoing the battles fought in a time when holding the fortress meant holding power itself. I hope you enjoyed that episode of 5-Minute Warfare from 5minutewarfare.com. If you did, please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. If you would like to support us more directly, please consider buying us a coffee. Head on over to 5minutewarfare.com/coffee to see how. You may also be interested in our other 5-minute podcasts. Check them out at 5minuteproductions.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.